Today in this video, we're going to talk about my reaction to the scandal that's going on at regarding Navy Federal and them discriminating against their black customers when it comes to getting a conventional loan. Check it out. Hi, I'm Rhonda Burgess, and I am a real estate broker and mortgage underwriter here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. My firm is Southern Living Realty Partners. All right, let's get to it, because I've been getting texts, I've been getting emails. What you think? You see this? Did you see what CNN has said and all this? I watched the video a couple of times. And I look at it from a totally different point of view, just because I am an underwriter and I've been underwriting so many years, and I follow how different institutions move. Okay. Now, this is not going to be a popular statement. I already know y'all will come after me in the comments about this, but let me just say this. First of all, I understand, Navy Federal is the biggest credit union in the country, in the United States. And that means they're member owned. So they're lending out the members' money, the actual credit union members. And, ever since we had the big debacle, the mortgage meltdown in 08, 09, a lot of lenders have gotten a lot stricter with their lending criteria. As I've told y'all before in previous videos, there's the guidelines that come from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, right? The guidelines will be right here. But you, as the lender, the person who's lending out the money, the company is lending out the money, you can put your own overlays on top of those basic guidelines. And you can make it as restrictive as you want to. Okay? You can say, okay, if Fannie Mae say you got to have a 660 credit score, I can, if I'm the bank and I'm the lender, I can make it 760 is my minimum credit score. I can do whatever I want to do because it's my money. And especially when you're a credit union and you're lending out the members' money. Listen, a lot of these places have gotten very risk adverse. I've told y'all time and time again, underwriting and mortgages is all about risk. There's nothing else to it. It's about risk. Okay? If they don't want to lend out money, that's cool. That's cool. That's them. If you don't meet their threshold of what it takes to be approved, that's that's their prerogative. They can do that all day long. I think it's more or less that Navy Federal got real restrictive in their lending, because if you look back, go back to the pandemic. Let's go back to 20 and 21. And you can do the research right here on YouTube. Now, this is just my own personal opinion. Y'all, you think whatever you want to, but I'm just telling you what I think. So many people want to know. You can look, there was hundreds of videos out here about how to run game on Navy Federal. And how to get all these big lines of credit and credit cards and car loans, and how to run game on Navy Federal. Look it up. And unfortunately, a lot of these people who were doing it were African American, were black people. It were people of color that were promoting running game on Navy Federal, because their lending guidelines on those products, their lines of credit, their credit cards, their car loans, which is what they're known for, which is what Navy Federal is known for. Okay, so everybody was running game. You pushing it, telling people, oh yeah. And I saw people, like selling, like, I'm a member of Navy Federal. I've been a member of Navy Federal for many years. Okay. Way before this 2020, before the pandemic and all this free money flowing and everybody running game and everybody running scams and stuff like this, and PPP was running loose and all this. But anyway, you could find people who were selling membership to Navy Federal. Like, I'll put you on as my sister, or I'll put you on as my brother so that you can get into Navy Federal, so you can run game on Navy Federal. So if Listen, it was just common sense that Navy Federal was going to clamp down because it was running rampant. Okay. And it was, unfortunately, a lot of it was by people of color who were trying to game the system. Okay. So cool. If you are sitting on that board of directors at Navy Federal and you watching these videos, they regular people like me and you. Okay. They watching these videos. They seeing what's going on. They like, okay. So everybody running game on us because we had looser lending criteria for these products. Again, Navy Federal, and in my opinion, credit unions in general are good for getting a personal loan, a line of credit, a signature loan, a car loan, credit cards. I would never get a mortgage. I would never apply at a credit union. Just personally, because I know their lending criteria is normally a lot tighter than a mortgage broker. It just is what it is. But okay, so let's say they were already tighter on their mortgages, and then you got all these people trying to run game on them, and you publicizing it. You know, some of these videos out here getting thousands and thousands of views, and everybody was trying to run game. I'd have clamped that down too. I would have clamped that down too. I'd have went to my underwriters and said, listen, for all products, because listen, everybody don't underwrite everything. If I work for a bank as a mortgage underwriter, that's all I underwrite is mortgages. I don't go over here and do credit cards. I don't do signature loans. It's two different minds of thinking. Okay. It's two different products. It's two different business lines. So it doesn't make sense for your mortgage underwriters to underwrite credit cards. So if I see, as Navy Federal, I see everybody trying to come run game on us, I'm going to tell everybody, oh, we finna tighten down all of this. We finna tighten down all of this. And I'm finna tell my underwriters, be diligent. Be diligent. Because they already knew what was going on. So that's my first point. So I totally understand why their criteria might be higher. Number two, again, as I just said, I would never go to a credit union to get a loan. Just like I would never go to a bank to get a loan. I would not go to, this is just me. And y'all can do whatever you want to do, but I'm just telling you, when you going somewhere where the employees, the loan origination employees are salaried, there is no incentive to get your loan to close. If I take 5 applicants this week as an employee of the bank, I'm still going to get paid whether them 5 close or not, period. Okay, let me say that again for the people in the back. When you go to a lending institution like a bank where there are salaried employees, there is no incentive for them to close your loan. So what's going to happen is either you can go online and do your pre-approval, right? You can do your pre-approval. And listen, the computer is going off of just what you put in. I can go run a pre-approval for myself right now on anybody's system. Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, whoever you want to run it on, and whatever I put in there, I can get an approval right now for probably $1 million, buy $1 million house, just off of what I put on that initial application. Okay? But that don't mean that matches up when it gets to the underwriter. That don't mean it matches up once it gets to the underwriter. So just because you got a pre-approval because of something you put in or that bank employee put in, it's not worth anything until the underwriter looks at it, until you actually run through the desktop underwriter, until you run through, your Fannie Mae, your LP, your DU, your GUS, if you're doing, rural, if you're doing USDA. It don't mean anything until you actually run through that system. And then that system is going to tell the underwriter what it needs to see in order to give you an approval. So again, the whole, in the video, and I'll link the video below from CNN. I know I was looking at it as an underwriter, and I really try not to, but I couldn't help it because in the video, the man they're talking to who said he didn't get approved, there was a whole lot of flags that just went up for me. And maybe, again, it probably is just me being an underwriter. First, he said, he had the pre-approval Again, who ran the pre-approval? Did you do it? Did an employee do it? What's going on? Because that was my first okay. So then he says he's self-employed. Okay, all my self-employed people, y'all don't watch these videos on my channel, you know. So he's the CEO. Oh, I'm the CEO of all of my companies too. But that don't necessarily mean that my debt to income is going to work. Okay, because that was the first thing I heard was he's self-employed. Okay, has he been writing off his taxes for the past 2 years? I don't know. Has he been writing off all his income on his taxes? I don't know. He said he had money from a previous sale of a house. Where's that money been? Did he just close on it? Is that money seasoned? Is there a track record on that money? It was just so many things that went up in my mind in that one particular case. And I know a lot of times, let's be honest, negativity sells. Negativity sells. If that same video, if that same report, if that same video would have said that Navy Federal approves nearly 50% of all African American borrowers for conventional mortgages, there would not be a question. That wouldn't have got no airplay. Did you understand what I'm saying? That was too positive. But we got to spend it on the negative side for it to get clicks, for it to get picked up by other media, for people to run down, Navy Federal's name. If it's not negative, it don't get no play. Okay, but I digress. So coming back and talking about the man's story, because if you listen to the video, they turned him down because it was because of debt to income. Okay, and then he say, he went and applied somewhere else and got approved. Okay, he got approved exactly as he submitted to Navy Federal. Did he pay down some debt? Did he amend a tax return? Did he bring more money to the table? Did he add on a co-signer? I just felt that the video was so kind of misleading, in my opinion. But again, like I said, I know I'm an underwriter and I look at things different. But it was so many things that were said. And then they said Navy Federal said they couldn't comment on an individual member's application. They act like that was wrong. Well, I wouldn't want them discussing my personal information either. You know what I'm saying? Because let me tell y'all something. A lot of times and then he's saying he had a 7-something credit score. Okay. What was that from? Was that from Credit Karma? Was from Credit Sesame? Because a lot of times, listen, what the credit score that you pull as a consumer and what I pull as an underwriter are two totally different things. Two totally different things. So I don't, you know what? For me, the jury's still out. I see Navy Federal said they not responding to this right now. And hey, that's on them. They don't have to. They don't have to. But all I'm telling you is, if you do your homework and do your homework ahead of time, y'all know this is my favorite word. Do your homework, do your homework, do your homework. If you do your homework ahead of time and have everything lined up and go to a mortgage broker, go to someone let me say this. Everybody's going about, it's against African Americans. You need to go to somebody whose favorite color is green. Money green. Money green. Because see, a mortgage broker does not have any tie to any particular bank or any particular lender. That mortgage broker would have looked at his file, would look at your file ahead of time and say, okay, we're gonna need to change this, or we need to do this, or we need to do that. Your mortgage broker knows how to run your DU or your LP or your GUS, and knows which modifications to make to get an accept, to get a hit, as I call it. Okay? But bank employees, that's not their job. They don't do that. They just put it in one time, and if it hit, it hit, and if it don't, it don't. And you keep on moving. And another thing, when they said they waited to 2 weeks before his closing, a lot of times, listen, we bulked up in the number of underwriters and everything during the pandemic when them rates was 3%, when them rates was 2.5. Okay. But now rates we just now coming back down in the sixes. Okay. So a lot of these institutions let go of a lot of underwriters. So there may be a backlog. It may be taking 2-3 weeks for the underwriters to get through the file now. So, but that doesn't mean that they waited until then. I have never known credit unions to have a large underwriting staff. I know some local credit unions that only got one underwriter. Okay? And so if this mortgages are not in Navy Federal's wheelhouse, I never have been. Like I said earlier, if you're going to get a credit card, you're going to get a line of credit, you're going to get a car, yeah, do that with them. But mortgages is not has never been their strong point. And again, I never advise anybody to go to a bank or a credit union to get a loan. Only unless you're trying to do like a construction of perm, maybe go to a local bank. That then where, somebody who's familiar with the land, who's familiar with what you're trying to do, maybe then. But otherwise, no. Me personally, I've used the same mortgage broker for my own personal house 3 times. For a purchase and 2 refis, I go back to the same broker. The broker has a vested interest. If you don't close, they don't get no money. So I will reserve my opinion on the Navy Federal debacle once Navy Federal responds. And I'm just not running off of some salacious headlines to get clicks. That's just me. Again, my name is Rhonda Burgess. I'm a real estate broker and mortgage underwriter here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. Thank you, and as always, have a blessed day.